this. And he decided that he would run away from the Lord and flee to the city of Tarshish. Instead, Jonah went to Joppa to find a ship that would not take him to Tarshish. When he found the ship that was going his way, he paid the fare and boarded the ship. But while he was on his way to Tarshish, God caused a storm to come over the ocean. And the ship was in danger to the point where the crew believed it was going to break in two. Terrified that men threw some of the ship cargo overboard to lighten the load. Jonah, however, was below the deck and asleep. He said, "Not now." What was going on? The captain went down to Jonah and woke him up and said, "Jonah, I need you to call on the voice of your God and save the ship." The crew, which did not know who or what sent this terrible storm, cast lots of figures out who had brought it on them. In the end, they determined that Jonah was the blame of the storm. The crew determined that Jonah's occupation and where he came from. Jonah simply told them that he was a Hebrew who feared God. The crew, now terrified, asked him why he brought the storm upon them. They already knew that he had run away from God. The crew did not know. The crew did not know. So Jonah told them to throw him overboard and the sea would grow calm again. He understood that the storm was a fault. The crew resisted the idea at first, but the sea was too rough. Finally, they called out to Jonah, God, and begged to have their lives spared because they were innocent. The crew finally cast Jonah overboard and the sea calmed down right away. As of the crew, they began to worship God of Jonah and they made vows and sacrifices. Then God sent a giant whale to swallow Jonah. He lived inside the whale for 3 days and 3 nights. When we go on down to Jonah chapter 2, we understand that Jonah found himself praying in the belly of the whale. Why is it that every time we get to hell and high water in our life, that's the only time we pray to God? What was your prayer life before the hell hit your life? What was your prayer life? I wish I had a church that can tell me for a minute, what was your prayer life? Would you do me a favor and find your neighbor and say, "Neighbor, I'm coming out of this. I'm coming out of this. It may be bad, but I'm coming out of this. I'm coming out of this with my hand."